Hey, good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I am your host, BKP. We've got a lot going on this morning. Sorry, it's already 8:01. Sorry. I've got to make sure I got the volume off on everything. We have a lot going on this morning. At 8:30, it will be time for Carla's Corner. And then at 9 o'clock, we're going to have Gina Penley in here from Georgia Mountains Hospice, and she's going to. Have you heard about? And you go online and you see all this hype about the Mardi Gras in the mountains. Well, we're going to have her in here. She's going to tell us all about that, what that's about, and then at 9:15, we're going to have tax tips with Beth Bennett, and then right after that, we're going to have Dr. David Markwell with Ridgeline Counseling. So we got a lot going on today. In our first 30 minutes, okay, I got a couple things that I have to address here in the first 30 minutes before we get to all of our guests today. And I was wondering, with only 30-minute opening before our action-packed Thursdays, we got a lot going on Thursday. That's when we get all of our guests in here. And I was wondering, oh, by the way, happy Valentine's Day. I'm sorry. It's 8:02. It's February 14th. For you, some of you out there, this is, okay, happy Valentine's Day. All right, are you happy now? All right, so I was wondering if I should play this 3-minute and 50-second clip with only 30 minutes in the first. And a lot of times when it comes to viewers and stuff, you don't want to play, you like to play a minute and a half, 2 minutes, sometimes almost a 4-minute clip. You lose the audience or they're not interested. But give me number one here, okay? The more we show America this, the more you get it out. See, here's the misrepresentation, obviously, is this is a joke saying this, the misrepresentation of the media out there, which is almost everything, is they continue to talk to you about these sweeping moves through Congress, this major change in Congress where Nancy is, or the House of Representatives, where Nancy Pelosi is now the Speaker of the House, and they always talk about that. And they say America. They'll say America rejected Donald Trump. Okay? America rejected Donald Trump's hatred, racism, all the above of what they think America rejected in Donald Trump. That is not true. The House of Representatives are districts, and there are districts that were very close where Democrats put up posers. They put up people that posed as moderates. They put up people that posed as conservatives. They put up people that said and posed and said that they would be willing to look at things they can work with the president. They never talk about the number of districts out there where Republicans were paying the price for not following through with defunding Planned Parenthood, not putting money in for the border while they had a chance, continuing to pass omnibus bills, not being able to explain it to the American people. There's so many things that the Republicans had to pay for in this last election. So they never discussed those districts where Republicans that could not answer the questions to their conservative districts or conservative/moderate, whatever you call them, they never discuss how the Democrats rushed in and put posers in place to pose as moderates, to pose as people that would work with Donald Trump, to pose as people that would vote against Nancy Pelosi, to pose as people that, you know, they found veterans to go in and run as Democrats. I mean, they did everything. They checked off everything in those areas. So America as a whole did not reject Donald Trump. America in pockets, in districts, certain districts rejected Republicans. Not so much Donald Trump. Republicans. You had a little bit of discord with Donald Trump, the President of the United States, but they rejected Republicans. But for the most part, America needs to know that these people, as though I have on the screen, Miss Omar, a liberal, progressive, left-leaning, all the above area in Minnesota, elected this lady, not America. But America needs to see. And I'll tell you what, they've stepped up now and they've stepped in it, okay? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. America is taking a good look at this representative from Queens, a very liberal place, not America, not Kansas, not Iowa, not Idaho, the Queens in New York. And you know, the people that live out there, you know, it's like they say, the people in the big cities, the wealthy people think that they grow those steaks at the grocery store, okay? There's people that's standing at the meat counter right now in some of those fancy grocery stores in those elite neighborhoods in these cities that are asking the butcher with the little white coat and the hat and everything like that, and he's got the bibs, got blood on it and everything, because they think that he's back there manufacturing that steak. Could you cut me one like this? That's what they think. They've never traveled out there where they roam on the range and they bring them in and put them down to get you that ground chuck that you enjoy. Or you like a chicken and fish deal. So anyhow, America's getting exposed to these people. Now this lady here, the more we can let America see, okay? Now, I'm not asking anybody to attack a religion this morning, okay? We're not going to spend our 30 minutes attacking a religion. But the more America could see and you share with your friends, this is who they elected. This is who they passed a rule in the House of Representatives that you can now cover your head. And this is who's questioning. This is the House Foreign Affairs Committee yesterday, okay? Now, I'm not going to tell you who the gentleman is, many of you may know, until after the video. Then we're going to talk about the deal. We're going to get that in 30 minutes. The deal, the no deal, I call it, okay? Please, Mr. President, don't sign this. But anyhow, I told you if you do, I'll support you come Monday morning, but it's not going to be easy, Mr. President. I don't think you should sign this. Then we're going to talk about a couple other things in the 30 minutes, but this is 3 minutes and 58 seconds. I understand, but I'm going to tell you, it's important to stay through, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this guy that she's questioning, this lady's questioning. And America needs to see, you need to share this with all of America, all of your friends in Florida, California, wherever they may be. This is what is in the Democrats' house. This is what's on these committees now. All right? Roll the tape.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your testimonies. Mr. Adams, in 1991, you pleaded guilty to 2 counts of withholding information from Congress regarding your involvement in the Iran-Contra affair, for which you were later pardoned by President George H.W. Bush. I fail to understand why members of this committee or the American people should find any testimony that you give today to be truthful.
If I can respond to that.
It wasn't a question.
That
was not a question. That was I reserve the right to my time.
It is not right.
That was not a question.
Committee can attack
on February 8th,
who is not permitted to reply.
That was not a question. Thank you for your participation. On February 8th, 1982, you testified before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee about U.S. policy in El Salvador. In that hearing, you dismissed as communist propaganda report about the massacre of El Mozote, in which more than 800 civilians, including children as young as 2 years old, were brutally murdered by US-trained troops. During that massacre, some of those troops bragged about raping a 12-year-old girl before they killed them. Girls before they killed them. You later said that the US policy in El Salvador was a fabulous achievement. Yes or no, do you still think so?
From the day that President Duarte was elected in a free election to this day, El Salvador has been a democracy. That's a fabulous achievement.
Yes or no, do you think that massacre was a fabulous achievement that happened under our watch?
That is a ridiculous question, and I
yes or no?
No.
I will
Chairman,
take that as a yes.
I am not going to respond to that kind of personal attack, which is not a question.
Yes or no, would you support an armed faction within Venezuela that engages in war crimes, crimes against humanity or genocide, if you believe they were serving U.S. interest, as you did in Guatemala, El Salvador, and Nicaragua?
I am not going to respond to that question. I'm sorry. I don't think this entire line of questioning is meant to be real questions, and so I will not reply.
Whether under your watch, a genocide will take place, and you will look the other way because American interests were being upheld, is a fair question, because the American people want to know that anytime we engage a country, that we think about what our actions could be and how we believe our values are being furthered. That is my question. Will you make sure that human rights are not violated and that we uphold international and human rights?
I suppose there is a question in there, and the answer is that the entire thrust of American policy in Venezuela is to support the Venezuelan people's effort to restore democracy to their country. That's our policy.
I don't think anybody disputes that. The question I had for you is that does the interest of the United States include protecting human rights and include protecting people against genocide?
That is always the position of the United States.
Thank you. I yield back my time.
Put that picture back up, the one I had, number one. First of all, she needs removed, okay? She needs removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee immediately. So what Nancy Pelosi needs to remove this individual immediately, okay? 2, her anti-Semitic tweets, which she did not apologize for. Nancy Pelosi wrote her an apology, and then she wrote on the end, yes, I apologize, but. So she did not apologize, okay? Second, this is her defending, now when I say defending, Maduro in Venezuela, okay? This is supposed to be a discussion about Venezuela. Now, one thing is, I want to be clear, all right? United States Special Envoy to Venezuela. Now, first of all, she can't pronounce anything, you know, coming from me. She doesn't even really know who she's talking to. Whoever wrote these notes for her, okay, he was charged with he was originally, this is Elliott Abrams, okay? Elliott Abrams. He is President Donald Trump's special envoy to Venezuela, okay? He was involved in the Iran-Contra, okay, with Ronald Reagan. He was appointed by Ronald Reagan. He is a lawyer. He served in the foreign policy positions for Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and now Donald Trump. Okay, he was charged with 2 misdemeanor counts: unlawfully, 1991 Congress, okay, Reagan administration during the testimonies of the Iran-Contra. Now, you may not remember that, but I do. Now, when Iran-Contra investigation was going on and Congress was attacking on a daily basis, all right, going after the Reagan administration, they were looking for anything like they do today that does not sync up in line where they could say, you misled Congress, you lied to Congress, all right? That's what they did with Elliott Abrams in 1991, is he was convicted. He's best known for his involvement in the Iran-Contra scandal during the Reagan administration, which led to his conviction in 1991 to 2 misdemeanor court counts of unlawfully withholding information from Congress. George W. Bush pardoned him. Yes, during George W. Bush's first term, he was pardoned by George H. Bush, okay? George H. Bush pardoned him. He was pardoned. 2 misdemeanors, all right? 2 misdemeanors. They basically don't go on your record. A misdemeanor could be, traffic tickets or misdemeanors. But anyhow, he was charged with 2. He was pardoned. Second, he's Jewish. Do you see the way this woman treated him? That is the Democrat playbook right there. Did you watch last week the way Whitaker was treated on the Hill? The Democrats, this nasty, disrespectful, going after people personally. This woman went after this man yesterday. He is the United States Special Envoy to Venezuela. Now, in her line of questioning, did you see anything that really pertained to the Special Envoy to Venezuela that we are trying to work out now through Colombia? Did you see anything in that? She's a nasty little kid. They're children. They're disrespectful. You see her grinning, okay? Where is the outrage? The way this woman treated this Jewish man yesterday. Now, the reason I bring that up is today, all the media is running her defense. There's no outrage anywhere on CNN, MSNBC, anywhere on how he was treated yesterday by her. Now, I will say, not to go into the controversial world, on one side, this is a Jewish American citizen, and on the other side, this is a Muslim American citizen. You can't pick up she went after him yesterday? Maybe she's a little mad. Did you hear what she said to the CNN reporter that tried to ask her a question about her anti-Semitic tweet? She said, "What's wrong with you?" Maybe she's angry. Maybe they're not going to get in the box that Nancy wants them to be in. Reason I bring up where's the outrage, because today they're going after Kevin McCarthy, okay? They're going after Kevin McCarthy today. Why? Because remember he sent that tweet, okay? Remember Kevin McCarthy sent that tweet that said something referring to George Soros, Tom Steyer, and Michael Bloomberg trying to buy the election. Facts are facts. We had the dollar amounts, but they happen to be Jewish. McCarthy pulled it down during the election, but they're going after him for his anti-Semitic tweet. No, that's not anti-Semitic. The facts are Tom Steyer is on TV every day saying he wants to impeach the president, and he spent an enormous amount of money trying to get candidates elected that oppose President Trump. George Soros has done the same thing, and Michael Bloomberg, we've got the list of his gun advocacy group that he poured millions of dollars in. Michael Bloomberg is already committed to $500 million to go after the president and Republicans in the upcoming 2020. So it's not that we can, and now they're going after the president about his comments at a Republican Jewish conference saying, I don't want your money. I mean, it's just ridiculous the way they're trying to protect this woman. But I think out there, and I'm going to move on from this subject. I've only got a couple more minutes before it's time for Carla's Corner. I'm going to tell you right now, you got to play this video. You got to send pictures like this to your friends. You got to say, not ugly stuff, but you got to say, this is what we've come to, these snotty little kids. When I say don't say ugly stuff, but these, excuse me, disrespectful people in our look at what it's come to. The attacks. The absolute attacks. Look at the attacks that were put on Whitaker last week. This woman here, this guy here, her picture, all Ocasio-Cortez. She needs to be a poster child out there for hate. I mean, you need to put it out everywhere you can, as much as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She needs to be put out there. Just the visual of watching that we have changed the rules for her to have her head covering, knowing she hates Jews. She hates Jews. And that happened to be a Jewish person there, Mr. Abrams, the envoy there, special envoy to Venezuela. And I didn't see where the American people got any real information from that. Human rights, genocide, and as he said, there was no real questions. There was no real questions. Very disrespectful and personal attack. So I think America, you need to let, viewers out there, you need to let America know this is what's going on. This is who this person is. Where's the outrage that this Mr. Elliott Abrams, a Jewish, born into a Jewish family, where's the outrage? This guy is the special envoy to Venezuela. How come they're not more interested, the Council on Foreign Affairs, on what's happened in Venezuela? And how come she's not more interested in the people? Do you know how many, I know I keep saying it again, do you know how many thousands? I listened to the president of Colombia in an interview, and the president of the United States hosted the president of Colombia. I'm pretty sure I got that right. You know how many thousands are pouring from Venezuela across their borders daily? Thousands. Because they're hungry, they're starving, okay? They're having to eat their own animals. Oh, I'm serious as can be. It's a disaster. And she's talking to him like, human rights? Really? She needs to be taken off the Council of Foreign, Committee of Foreign Affairs for the House. And her anti-Semitic views and her hatred on display for this man based on the fact that he's Jewish, she needs removed. She needs to resign immediately. Really quickly, number 17, the bullet train there that failed the test there in the President of the United States tweeted out, California has been forced to cancel the massive bullet train project after having spent and wasted billions of dollars. Folks, this is the reason I brought this up Monday. We were ahead of the curve on this one. They owe the federal government $3.5 billion. We want the money back now. Send the money now. He sent a demand letter. Whole project is a green disaster. The whole project's a green disaster. We want the money back now. So that's the President of the United States. We brought you that story Monday. Okay, now number 9, Pelosi rejects calls. Pelosi, number 9, Pelosi rejects calls to remove Representative Omar from Foreign Affairs Committee. Joe Scarborough said that Democrats need to not continue to just come out and say what they want before it's vetted and wonder what Nancy would do. Nancy Pelosi, Joe is recommending that Omar, Cortez, Alexandria Cortez, whatever her name is. They all run everything through Nancy's office, all right? And number 12, find out what Nancy would do. Now, on the border deal, okay, here's what MSNBC is showing, because MSNBC and CNN are not showing actually what the deal is. Border Security Conference Committee report $22.54 billion in border security. They're leading you to believe there's a lie out there. They're leading you to believe that there's a compromise increase in security and humanitarian needs. $564 million for equipment, $414 million for relief and aid at the border, 600 new customs officers, 75 immigration judge teams, and $527 million for assistance to Central American countries. Now, here's what, it's 1,100 pages. 1,100 pages. Here's number 14. I got to give Fox credit, because out of the 1,100 pages, they're also throwing in a 1.9% pay raise for federal civilian workers. Really? Really? Okay. And see, these are things that Trump, these are not things they're throwing in. These are things that Trump already nixed. He already said no to this. $3.8 billion invested in census. Really? I'm telling you, this is really a bad deal. Invested in the census, $9.3 billion. Now, we're going to get $1.37 billion for 55 miles of wall. And I understand in the 55 miles of wall, Trump cannot use one of his prototypes as wall. I understand it goes as far to say he can't use concrete. I'm serious. This is not a deal. $9.3 billion for EPA and Land and Water Conservation Fund. These are the cuts that the president worked and got rid of, the things that he got rid of in the first 2 years. And we can't get, right there alone, 9, 10, 11, 12, almost $13 billion for liberal Democrat wins for a trade of 1.37. I'm going to tell you this for the last time, Mr. President. Number 18, really quick. When you get a deal, somebody that calls you a deal, that's Richard Shelby, the Republican, and Patrick Leahy, the Democrat, Alabama and Vermont. When you have these two come out, remember Shelby has been in the Senate since 1986. What's significant about that? 1986 is when the Ronald Reagan amnesty immigration deal went through, and Leahy's been there since like 1976 or 71. He's in the 1970s where this guy is in, and this guy's 1986, and they come out and say they've made a deal. Okay, number 19, anytime you see a screen, number 19, and it says bipartisan support for border security compromise, Chuck Schumer, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I say very easily, no, Mr. President. Do not sign this. This is not a deal. Shut it down. If you do sign it, I will support you on Monday morning. We'll figure out where to go from here. But I have to tell you right now, for the guy that wrote The Art of the Deal and the President of the United States that I support, signing this is a tough gut punch. They're all in love with the story this morning. They love to hate the president. Kamala Harris, number 10. Kamala Harris, presidential hopeful Democrat there from Oakland, California, said that marijuana brings people a lot of joy. Let me tell you what brings Democrats joy is not marijuana. The joy of seeing if they can hate or report something negative on the President of the United States. Federal judge rules that Paul Manafort lied to Mueller about his contacts with Russian aid. Let me just say this. Mueller knew all along that his gig with the President of the United States was short-lived. Paul Manafort Manafort knew all along that his gig with the President of the United States was short-lived. And Paul Manafort, his job all the way back with President Ronald Reagan was to was to round in the delegates and close up the deal for the nomination. And that was his job right there with the Trump organization, to go in to the convention and round up the nomination and complete it with the delegates. And he knew it was short-lived, so possibly was Paul out there doing some things with the Ukrainian government that he shouldn't have been doing? I don't know. Take a break. We'll be right back. It's time for Carla's Corner. Sorry, we're running just a minute long.